Morning, everybody. I am so happy that you're here. Happy Thursday. I've got a busy day ahead of me. We're doing some wonderful strategy calls and masterminds with all these beautiful women who are in my narcissist group today. So we're coming together when two or more minds come together in a space that's focused on a specific intent. Um, Magic happens. And so we're spending all day and I'm working with the women one on one to be like, hey, how do we go deeper into this? What's next? How can we support you? It's a wonderful, magical time where you get this beautiful feminine energy of just openness and care. And so I'm looking forward to today. It'll be a fun day. And if you don't belong to the group, message me because it's something that you can belong to and join, and it's one of the most supportive, caring places for women who are in narcissistic relationships, and the focus is really on growth and evolution and happiness and joy, and not on negativity and ripping everybody apart. That's not the point. So which is the topic kind of today? The topic is what makes a narcissist anxious. So, many women, if you've been in, and men, but my focus is women, when we've been in narcissistic relationships for a while, what tends to happen is you get very angry. Your anger starts to get worse and it starts to build because you have so many emotions that have been suppressed, that have been pushed down. And it's so natural and normal after emotional abuse and manipulation and gaslighting and things like that to have a high level of anger and hurt towards a narcissist. So it's absolutely normal that there's a part of you that would want to get back at a narcissist, that would want some revenge, that would want some payback. That would some place to take all that anger and angst and direct it, that you've been sort of building up. So it's a natural and normal question to be like, hey, what makes a narcissist anxious? What gets them upset? What gets back at them? That's so totally normal. And if you haven't spent like 90% of your time obsessing about that, then you're not normal. Because if you're dealing with that level of abuse, your mind's going to be constantly like, how do I protect myself? How do I get myself back into balance? And one of it is the fairness game, the how do I right the scales? How do I balance the scales? And how do I make a narcissist as anxious as I am, walking on eggshells and freaked out? I want them to be anxious. I want them to respect me. I want them to, treat me with dignity. What will push their buttons? So let me kind of give you a secret. Most narcissists, unless they're the Asperger's sort, if your narcissist is an Asperger's, then you really do need to learn a different set of skills because their wiring is very different. They don't have the ability to empathize very well. Now, narcissists, on the other hand, they do have the ability to empathize. It's just hard and it's a lot of work and it's not worth their time. And they end up kind of getting stuck. So what makes a narcissist anxious? Everything. And the reason why you don't have to feel like you need some sort of karmic lesson is because narcissists get overwhelmed, get anxious, get upset, get knocked off balance by virtually everything. Because of their trauma or because of their mental health condition or whatever it may be, narcissists are constantly on edge. Inside, even if outside they look confident and strong and capable and functional and and romantic and amazing and wonderful, they're only able to keep that image up for so long because they're struggling with so many internal issues, whether it's low self-esteem, whether it's low self-respect, whether it's low energy, whether it's the fact that they're in overwhelm almost all the time. So narcissists actually have typically a high anxiety problem, and they walk around without letting too many people know it. So, when we want to balance the scales, and it's perfectly normal and natural that you want to, the way you realize what you realize is that the scales are already being balanced. It's already unfolding the way that that part of you wants it to. You're like, how do I make them anxious? Oh, they're anxious all the time. Oh, they're constantly, typically, unless, as I said, they're Asperger's, there's there's something inside of them that's always on edge. There's something inside of them that's ready to snap, ready to manipulate and control. And they've lived with this for so long. They've lived with this mental health condition or this PTSD or this borderline personality for so long that they know how to navigate it. And the way they've learned to navigate their anxiety, their overwhelm, is to take it out on you, is to try to get the respect that they want from other people, even though they don't feel that they deserve it. It's that old, if you feel disconnected, it's because you disconnected yourself. If you feel left out, it's because you didn't find people that were a good fit for you, that wanted you there. So narcissists typically have a high level of anxiety and have most of their life. And it doesn't take much to trigger that, as you've seen, because you've typically been the recipient of their triggered anxiety. Let's look at this from a little bit different perspective. So if you're in a relationship with a narcissist and for the time being you're coping with it, you're not ready to go, or you've decided that you want to stay and there's changes that need to be made and you need to evolve, one of the best things to do is to recognize that a narcissist is always anxious, and just keep that in your mind, so that when they're going through life, when the weather changes, when this happens or that happens, you're recognizing that, oh, they're feeling out of control, they're feeling anxious, and what do I want to do about this? Not how do I want to control them, but what do I want to do about this for me? So when we're surrounded by people who are struggling with anxiety and mental health, first of all, we need to protect ourselves, first and foremost. You need to make sure that you're okay. And second of all, you need to look at the situation from that objectivity. Okay, I'm dealing with someone who is clearly over the edge, is clearly not in control of themselves, is clearly struggling with something. And how do you treat people who are struggling with something? You treat them with compassion. Now, compassion doesn't mean that you have to be a doormat. Compassion means you actually take another level up. You might say, you know what? If they're dealing with anxiety, then I don't need to be around, because clearly I'm adding to the anxiety. I need to go protect myself and do what I need to do to be balanced. Or maybe you look at the anxiety producing situation and say, hey, stop taking this out on me. I don't deserve this. This isn't fair. I'm not going to allow you to speak to me this way. And if you continue to do this, then this is what I'm going to have to do. Anxiety happens many times because there's a lack of structure. There's a lack of strength. And when someone starts to respect themselves, like you, then you start to show a level of strength, and not a level of strength that's I'm out to get you, and how do I make you miserable, and how do I get back at you, and how do I rip you apart. And that's not what it's based on. It's not based upon how do I make a narcissist more anxious. It's based on, this narcissist is struggling. How do I want to handle it? What do I want to do about it? Because adding to their anxiety is going to only make them worse. But having a strong boundary about how you want to be respected, how you want to treat yourself, how you want to show up in the world, that gives people a sense of structure. You remember the old kind of piece of wisdom that says when a child is going through struggles, the best thing is to maintain routine? It's because routine gives structure, and structure gives a sense of safety. So many times a narcissist feels out of control inside of themselves, which is why they have to manipulate and control you. It's the only way that they feel like they can get some sense of security. Or you cannot be controlled. You can create lines, you can create self respect. And counterintuitively, when you start doing that, it helps a narcissist not feel so anxious. And when they don't feel so anxious, they're not going to take it out on you. When you realize that you had the right to stand up for yourself and you can have compassion for someone else and what they're struggling with, that's when the real magic happens. And even if you don't stay, even if you never talk to them again, even if you cut them out of your life completely, it's that compassion and self-respect that you have is what will make the rest of your life better. Because most people are dealing with the level of anxiety. And one of the best ways to help manage anxiety is to come up against someone who knows who they are, who knows what they believe in, who will protect themselves, who doesn't give everything away to someone else. That makes them safe. Someone with boundaries is safe. Someone who sticks up for themselves is safe. And many times a narcissist is so riddled with anxiety and hurt and anger and memories and off balance, and which is why they behave in such toxic ways. That's usually where they are. And when you draw that line, like going gray rock or black rock or no rock or whatever rock you want to go, when you do that, it gives them a sense of structure, gives them a sense of peace. And even if at the beginning there's great rage and anxiety and awfulness and gaslighting, at the end, it shows that you're a safe person. And if they're ready to evolve and grow, they're going to respect that and they're going to evolve and grow. And if they're not ready to evolve and grow, then they'll go away because they're not ready yet. And it's time for you to find someone who respects you as much as you respect yourself. So what makes a narcissist anxious? Most everything. They've lived most of their life underneath that cloud of anxiety. How can you get revenge on a narcissist? Oh my God, their life internally is crazy land. It's not easy for anybody, whether it's them or whether it's somebody else. It's not. So you don't have to get any sort of payback because karma absolutely has done that for you. Your job is to respect and love yourself first and foremost. And when you do that, then you sit and watch how your relationships around you change. Because now you are not someone who feels wiggly. You're not someone who feels threatening. Because when you don't have boundaries, when you don't have self-respect, you're actually threatening because people can't trust you because they don't know what direction you're going to go. Whereas when you have self-respect, people at least know the rules of the game. They at least know what they're up against. And believe it or not, that gives people a sense of peace. The unknown is scarier than the known. Structure is safer than doormat. And so if you have a narcissist in your life and they're not going away and you need to find a way to make it all function and work out, start respecting yourself with compassion for other people around you. And if you want to get rid of them and you're ready to move on because you're sick of being in the middle of this, knowing how to protect yourself, knowing how to have good boundaries will serve you in so many ways. Because what it does is not only for the narcissist does it raise your value, but for everybody else. When someone has boundaries, when someone has structure, when someone sticks up for themselves, when someone pushes back, when someone has love and compassion paired with strength, that's a person that people want to be around because most people are running around with a lot of anxiety already, not just the narcissist. It's kind of in the world. Okay? So you don't need to look at what makes a narcissist more anxious. because everything does. What happens is when you put down the judgmentalism, you become more sensitive to things around you, and you'll be like, aha, this is anxiety producing. And you start to make different choices. You start to be the safe, loving person that you've always wanted to be, instead of the malleable, adaptable, flexible, understandable, fix everything for everybody sort of person that you were taught to be. That actually makes people uncomfortable and attracts more narcissists, believe it or not, whether it's at work, at home, on the street corner, doesn't matter. Whereas a sense of confidence and a sense of self respect repels narcissists because because they have no reason to behave in a narcissistic way with you, because you're not their victim anymore. When you stop being a victim, narcissists stop victimizing you. So, if you want some support, if you want some love, if you need some advice, if you want some generations of women who know what you're going through and can help you through it and get you the strength and the respect that you're looking for, reach out, let me know, because I'll give you the link to the group. We're doing a special where we're loading it up with 40 women. And once 40 women is reached, everything changes. So you want to get in on this as soon as you can and be a part of this beautiful, beautiful group of women. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I know I will. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.